What's good on the hood? UFC 322. Was a little delayed getting this out. You know, the challenges of having a day job, but we're at it. I don't know what everyone else thought, but I watched this from bottom to top. Pretty good card. And it's always good reception when you bring people to watch it with you and you see what their reactions are to fights that they have no knowledge of. Like obviously people like myself and whatever handful of people that are going to listen to this video, they recognize a good majority of the fighters on this card, even down to the early prelims. But the average fan, they probably only recognized Islam Makhachev, Valentina, maybe Leon Edwards, everyone else, Bo maybe. For the most part, they wouldn't have recognized anyone. I'm gonna go on limb and say the reception from the end of the prelims all the way to the main card, there were some good finishes. Now, obviously, the co and the main at times were rather dry, rather dry. They were dry and tough like a good old $2 steak, Jim Ross. But nonetheless, there were some monumental things that happened, some amazing finishes, and I'm gonna just pick some fights and give some initial feedback on. We're gonna stick to just the top of the card. I'll put a couple prelims on attention just due to the significance. I'm gonna start just obviously with my girl Erin. Uh, Sadly, Aaron and Tracy, the highest ranked matchup on the prelims. You know, uh, by no means title contend elimination, but still at the Aaron number 4, I believe Tracy was number 8. It was very important for the flyweight division, especially with the flyweight belt on the line. In the co-main, Aaron got it done. Great submission. Definitely was a little slow in the first round, and I believe she admitted in the post-fight interview that being off for almost a year, her last fight of the year contender versus Macy Barber. Go check that one out. Yeah, she definitely was a little slow. She wasn't pushing the takedowns early in the first round. Almost feel like she was just probably trying to get those, jitters out. Also test her striking because she tries to take pride in improving that. But nonetheless, she imposed her will. As you can see, 2 takedowns. She got a reversal off Tracy's takedown. Pretty good in the striking department, especially in the second round. But yeah, she blasted through Tracy using some cheeks for leverage and was able to get a clean takedown. It looked very good, especially like I said, coming off almost a year of inactivity. By no means her choice. The problem is, as I'm going to bounce to the rankings, the biggest problem for her as we go to the flyweights, she's number 4. She didn't move up in rankings. You see on the pound for pound, she is number 7. She moved up 2 spots. So the problem is she's behind Alexa Grasso, Natalia Silva, and Marion Ferrol. Hopefully I said that right. I'll probably never get it right. The French woman. The problem is she already has a loss to the number 1 contender, and Marion Ferrot is coming off her own win, a very fast finish of Jasmine Jasdavicius. So Aaron, is she a fresh contender for Valentina? Yes. And that's why I don't think Marion Ferrot is going to get the title shot. At the same time, Natalie Silva is undefeated in the UFC. She was cage shy. The camera featured her. She's most likely in the shot, especially in that Valentina. Does not have to worry about Zhang Weili anymore. So that's what I expect what's going to happen with the title picture. And Valentina probably will stay kind of active, maybe be on one of the Paramount cards, if not at the White House, no less. So it's probably going to be her now, Natalia Silva. Uh, the question is, where does Aaron Blanchfield go? I'd say her best bet, I mean, not best bet, but the one that probably makes the most sense is just to get the rematch. She lost pretty much every round in this fight. But at the same time, if she's trying to prove she's the number 1 contender, if she's got a real chance of being Valentina, which she looked good, she's still I think not credible enough. I don't think people are going to perceive her to win. If she can get past Miro Ferrot, who gave Valentina a good was it 48, 47, 49, 46 decision when they fought, that'd probably be her most honorable approach to getting to that title shot. But I think the safe bet would be Alexa Grasso. Definitely a dangerous fight, but I think it's a lot more reasonable. Grasso's coming off the last loss to Silva, I don't know. Blanchfield's in a tough position because I don't think she's gonna wait, especially with how inactive she was leading up to this fight. So I'd say try to see if Grasso's available. Take that. It's probably a very winnable fight with some takedown aggressiveness, and then hopefully by then Silva and Shevchenko have already happened, and she can, if she comes off that win, obviously, she'd be in a really good position to get the shot. Moving on, Mr. Bo Nickel. He had a standout performance. By no means, it was definitely a demotion in competition compared to RDR, but by no means can you take away the fact that he looked good. His takedowns were on point. His striking was on point. He obviously got the finish in the third round. Very clean finish. That was, like I said, one of those ones where the general audience that was around that are by no means diehard fans, they were like, "Whoa, that thing caught them off guard. It looked real brutal." Good win for Bo. Bobbing at those rankings. Obviously, he had his first ranked opponent against RDR, and he did not look good. But also RDR, up until his loss against Brendan Allen, RDR, he was a dark horse in this division, and he's still definitely very good with the wins he has. But personally, it's definitely a steep competition jump. But I feel like Bo's already fought a couple cans. He's already had a couple, mid-tier opponents. I don't know why, but I would be very entertained to see Paul Costa, who's a decent wrestler, very large for the division. Um, they definitely talk a lot of trash, I think, going back and forth. And Paul Costa, he's coming off a win against Roman Kopilov, who himself lost in a pretty boring decision. So I don't know why, but I just think Paul Costa would be a fun little matchup for Bo. I think that's something where he'd probably win on the wrestling, but it's also an interesting case where Paul is probably one of the bigger guys in the division. He's ranked. He's definitely in the decline, far from where he was in his title shot against Adesanya years back. And it's just something where I think you want to strike while the iron's hot with Bo. If you can get him into those rankings somehow, some way, now that he's got this momentum back, he's got a little sass to him with that post-fight interview with the birds he's flipping. And is it winnable? Yes. Is it definitely a step up in competition that could again put him in that position of being fraud checked, and who knows what would happen if he gets finished? But I don't know. I like it. I like Bo, and I'd like to see him without pushing him too hard. He's always trying to chase Hamza and his rise, and he's far from Hamza's skill level. But I don't know. I think it'd be a very fun fight. Moving on, Benil Benoit Saint Denis, very, very short. I essentially missed this. I turned for 1 second, it was over. That's how fast it was. Some may say it was a bad stoppage. I think the consensus I had in my group was that Benil, when you fall fat, like right on your face, hands don't even catch yourself. You already probably did some head damage there. Canvas ain't soft. Uh, it was definitely a reasonable stoppage. And let's be real, Benil, he's lost. This would be 3 of his last 4 he's lost, and all by TKO and or KO. He's getting a little older. And it's rough too. If you look at the rankings, he was on, like, what was it, 7-8 win streak, and like I said, now he's lost 3 of his last 4 by finish. He is, oh, I'm bobbing around, number 12, down 3. Benoit's up to 8. I don't want to say Benil should retire, although he has always hinted in his interviews, like, if he feels like he can't keep up with the very best, uh, then he never, he doesn't want to compete. Like, if he knows that he's, like, fully much declined to the point where he can't compete at the highest level, he's not going to stay much longer. Um, do I think he can still compete? Yes. Do I think he needs to chase maybe a more reasonable or fun fight? Yes. But he's just not a big name in the division. I mean, you could probably just try to find someone, up and comer and try to feed him to him. I couldn't even get a name because I think Benil, he should just take some time to reflect and see if he should call quits. If not, try to find a fight that's obviously beneficial for him that keeps them, at that top of that rankings. But the reality is he's probably going to be the new Neil Magny gatekeeper for this division. Benoit, Very good finish. And the thing is, he didn't take any damage. 3 total strikes. Uh, yeah, I mean, other than the fact that he had to cut weight and get over there and all that, fly there to New York. You should try to keep him active. The question is, there's not much. I mean, availability wise, I don't think Fiziev is booked. You could do Fiziev. Gamrot's coming off a loss. We're gonna stick with Fiziev. I think Fiziev. Those two would probably go so hard in the striking department. Like, yes, I think any fan can appreciate that. You could put that in some sort of fight. And frankly, that could be a main event or like a co-main next time they go to Paris or something. That could be something where Benoit's on a little streak now after his little skid he was on. Fiziev, he had some surgery, came back, had a good decision win, but he's trying to regain that momentum after double Justin losses. Never good. I'd say book them if the timing's right. If not, just see if you can find someone. Grant Dawson. I don't care. Just someone to keep Denis, Benoit Saint Denis active. Like when you see someone that gets a finish like that, and they've taken zero damage outside of the issue of doing recurring weight cuts, which we've seen with RDR. Like you got to be careful of that. Like when someone's active like that, that's how you build a contender, I think, and you build that credibility with him. He's already recognizable just for his finishing potential, his appearance, all that. Very popular, obviously, in his home country, but I'd say keep building that. And frankly, whoever that's in that lower end rankings that's available, give them to him. Welterweight was very popular, obviously. Three fights in the main card, all ranked. This one was rough. I mean, Leon, you could tell the fact that he was pushing the grappling, he did take the back, but couldn't really do anything with that submission attempt. He wasn't really getting. Well, he had no submission attempts. He just had the body lock, the triangle. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like Carlos, recognized, a couple minutes in, probably a minute in, that he was not afraid of the power of Leon, and yeah, I mean, he marched forward. That was another one where it's like when you see those eyes pop, like he was looking like the Undertaker. I mean, it was rough. And Leon's been rocked before. Obviously, he's never been finished by TKO or KO. So Carlos got that feather in his cap. So very good for him as he regains that momentum after the Ian loss. And now he's, I mean, he has so many monumental finishes. The spinning elbow at Jeff Neal in his last fight. He definitely took, I mean, a little bit of strikes, but he's another case where he barely took any. He didn't even go the full fight. So Leon, rankings, and he's getting down 5. Wow, that is crazy. He was a champ like a few years ago, and now he's ninth ranked 2 years ago. Um, Leon, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, he probably wants to take some time off. He should take some time off. I would say give him Buckley, but I feel like Buckley's gonna try to come back soon after his Usman loss. Or he makes it sound like no one wants to accept any fights with him. That he's the boogeyman. I don't know how accurate that is, but I'd say put Leon on the fence for now. Maybe if he wants an easy fight, give him someone like Colby Covington. I don't know. Someone that's gonna have pills for hands, so that way at least there's low risk of getting a more prominent head damage, this and that. I mean, he's just still, like I said, probably take a couple months off, just any sort of sparring, head training, all that jazz. But I mean, he's another case where it's like you're on this big skid. You've already achieved championship level stats. You had a really good win streak. You beat Usman twice. What more do you have to prove? Like, I don't know. Pratas though, and he's gonna be someone that I'll give my next fight for the next one. Moving on. Sean Brady, Michael Morales. Go watch my other video. I don't want to say I predicted this, but I was saying that Sean was going to get screwed. And lo and behold, he got screwed, and he got screwed fast. Like, I mean, this was hard to watch. And right away, Morales looked like a giant out there. He looked huge. I've only seen his most recent fights, and I didn't realize how big he was until you put him against Sean. Sean's not the tallest guy, but Sean's got a big back. I mean, Sean's burly. and he made Sean look like I don't know, like I don't want to say a peon, but Sean, and for whatever reason too, Sean did not push the pressure on that takedown early on. It felt like he only pushed the takedown when he started getting pieced up on the feet. And Morales at times was he looked like Francis Ngannou in the sense he was like throwing these like overhand twos and this and that, like just wailing. Like once he caught Sean with a couple good strikes and Sean started backing up and Sean was taking these like I want to say sloppy shots, but he just wasn't getting deep into the hips. I feel like Michael knew like A, I'm not super afraid of the takedown, and B, you're hurt as hell. I'm just gonna pounce, and that's what he did. And him like a 3 or 4 combo, and Sean went down, and Sean wasn't like out, but yeah, Sean definitely didn't have the whereabouts to try to pull guard or anything like that. And it's rough. Let's look at the rankings. Sean was I think he was number 2, and where is he? Yeah, he was number 2, and now he went down 5 spots. I mean, he took a big risk fighting Morales, who was 8, and now he's 3. Like they essentially switched. Now Morales number top 5, and he's 1 away from the title shot. Sean, Sean's probably gonna need 2 more wins now. Now he's especially off this loss, and he definitely took some damage. So he's gonna need a little bit of time to rest. Who can he fight? I mean, he's probably the most case dependent on how they match up this top of the division. So you have obviously Bilal, Ian this week. Shavkat's coming back. I mean, timing wise, Sean versus Shavkat could make sense because Shavkat, I think he's pretty much healed up. He's just starting, I think, getting back into the full regime of training and this and that. But Shavkat makes it sound like he's going to fight very early next year. Uh, Shavkat could be the matchup. It's definitely dangerous though. I mean, he's a really good striker, very very large like Morales, not as like thick, but height wise and all that reach. It is definitely gonna be a tough matchup, but it would be perfect for Sean to bounce back. Undefeated Shavkat was essentially #1 contender before he got hurt. UFC should reward this man. This man built up Morales now to be what many are arguing now. You go on the internet, you go on a lot of reaction videos. People are saying, I'm saying this with my confidence, that Morales, he's now like, people are putting him up against Islam. Like, he could be the guy to impose problems. You got that background judo, very large for the division, scary power. The thing is, he's not going to get the title shot next. I think it's already established who's getting that. So, Morales, I think he should fight Carlos. I think I think especially you put him on one of the Paramount cards early next year. A, that's gonna be entertaining. You're guaranteed to finish. B, you go off these rankings no less. Carlos number 5, Morales number 3. I mean, depending on how Ian shapes out with Bilal next week or Saturday, and depending on where Shavkat falls, and obviously you know how long Islam will even stay in the division, I think that's a #1 contender match that you can do. Very safe bet, very entertaining. You could probably put them as the co. Um, yeah, I'd say book those 2 and see if you can try to get them as soon as the January card because they both took pretty much no damage and they both are young, hungry, and they seem like they will A, happily accept each other as a fight, and B, they're gonna put a good show on. The co-main, Valentina Shevchenko, Zhang Weili. I was looking forward to this, and just like the main, it fell flat. And you can't hate on it. Valentino's in a position where, like, hey, she's one of the top goats, and she was taking on, arguably the pound for pound women's fighter. Where's those rankings? Where are those rankings? Yeah, pound for pound, Zhang Weili was number 2. Valentina was 1, still is 1. I mean, it was definitely a fight where Valentina, she had to do whatever she could to win because if she lost, who knows where she would go? She'd maybe have to go up or down. Who knows where weight classes wise. But as I alluded to, most likely fighting Natalie Silva next. She seems to hint that she wants to move up to fight Kayla Harrison. That's highly dependent on if Amanda Nunes comes out of retirement and fights Kayla herself. Excuse me. But Kayla seems like, and she's a good fit because she's an American champion. She's probably going to be booked for the White House, not anytime beforehand, unless I don't know why, but yeah, I don't see why Dana would book her before. So Kayla's probably got a safe bet for the White House. It's a question of who she's fighting. If Amanda's available, she's probably getting Amanda, and I think Dana will definitely prioritize Amanda. But if Amanda's not available, Valentina, that's a very compelling fight, and frankly, a very winnable fight if she bulks up and gets the time to do that. But in the short term, I could see her fighting Natalie Silva maybe around mean, she did the full 5 rounds, but it wasn't like crazy damage. Maybe around like February, even March, do Natalie Silva. And then assuming Kayla Harris is still open, that's when Valentina, if she get past Natalie Silva, she could do a super fight. Now, Wang Zhangwei Li. Could not say that name, and if she ever sees me, she'll probably pick me up like Shaq and pile drive me. Zhang she's in a brutal position. I mean, she tried to move up. She didn't get that done. And even worse, she pretty much lost every round. She didn't look good in the grappling department. She couldn't get her striking going. She was just physically imposed, which calls into question. And I'm gonna pull up these pictures, not to be weird, but I mean, I saw her at the weigh-ins. All that. She's obviously shorter and all that, less reach, all that. But and Valentina, I by no means is the biggest flyweight. Zhang Wei Li she just got physically imposed, and I mean she looks big. Like it honestly makes me think of when Chandler fought Patty, where it's like Chandler looks more bulky and just like physically imposing, but Patty was just like taller and just had more like how should I say like his reach was able to in some ways impose his game better. And maybe it's also a skill set thing. I don't know, but Zhang just felt like she couldn't do anything. And it makes you call into question how would she do against some of the other flyweights? Is Erin Blanchfield going to just be able to double leg her over? Is Macy Barber going to just double leg her over? Who knows? Miran Farrow, like that could be a tough matchup. And frankly, the fact is no one wants to see this rematch. So Zhang Weili is most likely going to have to go back down to strawweight. She's still number two. She's already beaten Tantia Suarez. Maybe due to the timing, she has to get a match, but most likely just because this division's the weakest out of all the women's. Kayla Harrison's division's pretty weak too, though. She probably could just get an immediate title shot. Dern's calling out Tantia Suarez because grappler against grappler, and it's a very winnable fight for Dern, and I like Dern for obvious reasons. She got good personality, but let's be real. Zhang Weili, she could just move down, and I think she would smoke Dern unless Dern were to somehow catch her in guard or this or that. But I don't even think Dern could get the takedown. Tatiana Suarez couldn't take down Zhang Weili, and Tatiana Suarez I think is more physically imposing and a better like offensive wrestler. So I think Dern's probably screwed. So yeah, Zhang Weili, go get that belt back and just reclaim your old division strawweight and just do your thing. You've already been doing it. Go back and do it because clearly you're not big enough. You're too short, or you just don't have the skills yet. All right, welterweight, the big one, the one with the biggest question marks. Um, and then the crazy thing is we look at the stats. Obviously, total strikes alarming, 140 to 30, pretty bad. Only 4 takedowns. I thought there was 5, but I guess there was only 4. But the control time I don't know why it doesn't show. I believe it was around 19 minutes and change, which is scary, scary good for Islam and scary, scary bad for JDM. With all the hope that he was going to be able to scramble, he had none of that. He got taken down. He would get up in like with 10 seconds to spare. I don't even know if he was actually getting up or is Islam just like, you got 10 seconds left, I'll let you get up and I'll get a couple of strikes in the breakaway. Who knows? But yeah, JDM looked terrible, sad. And the crazy thing I was saying was that the strike number is 18 to 30. I don't know how accurate that is. I feel like some of the 140 were more significant than what's reflected here. But yeah, a lot of it was just Islam was in that half guard, who know, and he was just doing very light tippy tappy, more so than I think what Hamza was getting against DDP. But regardless, JDM was shown he is levels below Islam, and now Islam fully bulked up. Creatine Islam, go check that video out. He looked big. He looked big at the weigh-ins. Some people were saying JDM was looking equal or if not bigger. Well, clearly didn't show because every time Islam pushed for that takedown, Jack had nothing. I mean, he would get so deep on Jack, instant takedown, a minute into every round. The question is now what? We've already said there was 2 people that stuck out on this card, but Islam is already called out, and let's go look at the rankings. Boop boop boop. Islam, he's looking good at this weight class. I mean, Bilal has got to fight next week or Saturday. We're living in time zone differences. Bilal, I mean, even though they say they're teammates, Bilal seems very hint like he is totally fine with fighting Islam. I don't think Islam has any desire to fight Bilal, especially because Bilal is the the least popular, probably the least popular name in this whole division. Morales, like I said, we're gonna pair up with Carlos. JDM is out of the question. Shavkat would be very fun, but he's just a wild card because he's still like he needs one fight just to enter into the fans' minds. Only the hardcores are really gonna remember him, and even then, he's lost a lot of his star power just from the fact that he's been caught. It's not like he's super active. It's not like he's like at these shows, doing interviews and this that. So he's out. Ian Machado Gary, I personally think would impose some issues. Just I think his distant management. He is kind of tall for the weight class, lanky, and as he showed with his fight with Shavkat, like he can stop. And Shavkat's obviously not the best wrestler in this division by far, but he's able to show some takedown defense, some modest jiu-jitsu. By no means offensive enough to submit anyone, but Ian definitely, has. I think he has really good fight IQ where he can game plan what you need to do to fight Islam, which is obviously ridiculously hard, and I don't think he could achieve it. But I think he can impose some problems with the leg kicks, just constant circling. The problem is I would assume Islam's gonna catch him, even if it's on a minute in. He's gonna eventually get him into the cage, double leg him, get hips deep, and if he doesn't get the first or second, he's going to get him on the third. And by the time he gets him down, that's when he starts to wear on Ian's gas tank. So I don't think I don't think that fight's happening, even though Ian's a big name. And if he were to finish Bilal by like KO, and since Islam and Ian would be on the same timeline, it's possible. Islam's already called out Usman. He's dropped 3 spots, so now he's 8, so that looks kind of weird. I don't know outside of short nose fights with like Bisping where there's ever been a guy this low in the rankings and a title shot, so they're gonna have to tweak that around a little bit. But Usman's already seemed to suggest he doesn't want to fight anyone else besides Islam. Islam has said Usman is the biggest name in the division. He's essentially the GOAT welterweight. I think GSP is, but Usman, Dana, I think, said too. He's the goat. So for Islam, it's a big feather in his cap. Take that. Take that one. Um, by no means, I think it would be easy. I think Usman has shown, especially with his fight with Hamzat a few years back, where Usman's takedown defense top notch. His jiu-jitsu is pretty good, where he's hard to submit. His boxing is crisp once he gets going, and he's still shown that he, even with his fight against Buckley, he's still got like a chin and just like that toughness in him. But people are gonna say Usman's only got one win in unless it was like the last 2 years, and he's just probably not the most deserving. The only issue I think that no one, at least like what I've seen from some highlighting around, that people want to mention is that Ramadan is in like first or second week of February, and Islam, unlike people like, well, Bilal's like the only exception I know of, but Islam does not fight. He does not do fight camps during Ramadan just because of obviously the issues of not being able to properly, I believe, eat. Don't come at me, Muslim fans, but yeah, he never, him and his crew, they never fight during that, so that kind of screws around the timeline where it makes me think he's not gonna probably fight on like a January card, and then he's probably not gonna be available for February, March. I don't know. I think Islam is probably going to be reserved for the White House, and I think in their case, Islam is probably his next fight. It's going to be very case dependent on A. I think they might make Usman do one more fight. If we're assuming Islam's not fighting until the White House, so it was that June, that's plenty of time for Usman to get one more fight, and he could fight. He could fight Shavkat. Honestly, he could take Shavkat. Maybe Sean Brady, although he's a little lower, he dropped a lot of ranking. Usman could fight JDM. If he can fight one of these guys in that top 5, top 6 ranking, get a win around, let's say on the January, maybe put him on the first Paramount card. I think that'd be good for him, and he would probably like that idea, just because a lot of people will be watching it. If he gets one win, yeah, give him the title shot. If Usman is not willing to fight or does not get a win before the White House, and assume he's not injured, Ilya is probably the one that people want the most. The problem is Ilya needs to probably get one lightweight defense, and it's going to come against Mr. Arman if he gets a good win this weekend, or it's going to come against Patty. Wild card would be Justin. I actually personally like the Justin fight, even though Justin's not the most deserving. I think Justin versus Ilya would be slam dunk scrapping, slam dunk boxing. Regardless, I think yeah, Ilya is probably the best matchup for Islam. The only problem is, as we saw, Islam is goddamn huge. I need to go take 10 G's of creatine, up it from 5. Regardless, Ilya, I don't think people are gonna have the credibility to think he's big enough to fight Islam. And the worst thing is, it's not like Ilya would have the matchup at lightweight where Islam will be a little restricted on his size. It's gonna be at welterweight. So Ilya would, if he's gonna do it, kind of like how when Volk went up to lightweight the first time, you need actual time to bulk up. And even then, Ilya still got the restriction of obviously the height and probably reach disadvantage, but that would be like the only way to do it. But first, Ilya needs a title defense. And then second, he needs time to bulk up, assuming he doesn't take a lot of damage in those title fights. So yeah, I would probably say it's gonna be most likely Usman for Islam. Secondary option will be Ilya. Third wild card, it could be whoever honestly impresses the next couple months. If Carlos or Morales get a finish against one of each other, around January, they could get it. And I think Morales could probably finish Parad. I don't want to say could, but Morales is probably the better chance to beat Islam than Carlos is, just based off what we've seen and his background and all that. I don't think Bilal's gonna get it. JDM's out of the picture. He just did not look good. He's never gonna get that. Never gonna get that rematch. He should probably consider going to middleweight, but he can't win there either, so he's screwed. Sean Brady got screwed. He's out. It really comes down to, is Gary gonna impress? Bilal, he's just not a big name. He would actually impose a lot of challenges, I think, just through his size and all that. And he knows them. He's trained with them. I don't know how much. He's definitely their odd man out in the group, but he'd actually, I would be very interested to watch that fight. It's just Bilal, he doesn't get KOs or submissions or any finishes, and he would have to finish Ian to get this. And if he were to finish Ian very efficiently, no less, quick, all that, he could probably get the title shot if he was the only one available. But if he has a close decision against Ian, he's not getting the title. It doesn't matter because Ian's 6, Bilal's boring, and Bilal, I have nothing personally against you. I think you're great. So yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb and bet it's Usman, and maybe they honestly, because Islam took no damage, maybe they squeeze this man on one of those Paramount cards, maybe right before Ramadan. Um, we'll have to wait and see. I will imagine we're gonna get a lot more transparency when they announce that card and see where Ilya falls on the tables, and we'll get a lot more transparency this weekend with the co-main. But yeah, I'm super excited. I think welterweight is so hot right now. There's so many active contenders that are floating around. You got some returns like Shavkat. You got some, I will say, the returns of Usman, and then like I said, Islam, who might take an extended break. He's got his shadow over everyone. So yeah, look forward to seeing it. Keep an eye out. I'll probably post some prediction for the Qatar card this coming Saturday. But thank you for listening. Like, sub, comment. Let me know what you think.